John from DominoWorldRecord.com here with another episode of This Day in Domino History. On April 17, 1979, Erez and I set a new world record by toppling a chain of 135,215 Dominoes in Wilmette, Illinois, a northern suburb of Chicago. 3 weeks earlier, when we began the process of setting up the Dominoes, Erez and I had one goal, along with one hope and one wish. Of course, our goal was to break Bob Speca's world record, but our hope was that doing so would provide us the opportunity to go for another record in the future. We knew turning that hope into reality required getting as much publicity as possible. Our plan was to mail press releases to various TV stations announcing our world record attempt. And back then, the only way to find those mailing addresses was to look them up in a phone book. Okay, for those younger than a certain age, let me explain. Back in the day, every household used to have a local telephone book that was divided into two sections. The white pages listed residential addresses and phone numbers, and then the yellow pages listed the addresses and phone numbers for businesses. Finding addresses for the Chicago TV stations in our local phone book was easy enough, but Erez and I knew we had to get national coverage. So we utilized the only search engine available in 1979, and that was the Chicago Public Library's massive collection of phone books for every major city in America. Erez spent an entire Saturday there going through hundreds of phone books. Now, the old advertising slogan for the yellow pages was, "Let your fingers do the walking." And that day, Erez's fingers walked through countless yellow pages as he wrote down addresses for the local ABC, CBS, and NBC affiliate TV stations in the biggest cities across all 50 states. Then we used that list to mail out over 200 press releases a month before our topple, followed up by another 200 reminder letters 3 weeks later. Oh, and about that one wish we had, the Chicago Tribune always used to fill the back page of the sports section with a photo essay. It could be about any subject, it didn't have to be about sports, but it was always interesting and became a must-see for Tribune readers. Erez and I talked about how cool it would be if we made the back page of the sports section. Of course, we had no control over that happening, but we just held on to that wish when we mailed our press release to the Chicago Tribune. When Topple Day arrived, we finally knew our hard work paid off because everybody showed up. Film crews came from all the local Chicago TV stations, as well as national crews from NBC and CBS. There were reporters and photographers from both of Chicago's major newspapers, the various suburban newspapers, as well as the big newswire services, Associated Press and United Press International. The news of our world record went across the US and around the globe, making it the 1979 equivalent of going viral. Erez and I couldn't have been happier, but the story that aired that night on the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite provided the perfect ending to that day. Here's that story, and watch for Mr. Cronkite's reaction at the end.
You may remember Bob Speca. He put his name in the record books last year. Well, two young men in Wilmette, Illinois took that name out today, and it was, as Chris Kelly reports, a pushover.
They were going after a new world record, 141,781 dominoes spread out over a quarter acre of floor space inside an ice rink. Almost 2 miles of dominoes lined up waiting to be toppled. And with the careful nudge of a finger, what took John Wickham and Erez Klein 3 weeks to construct began falling down. Cruising along at about 2 miles an hour, the dominoes fell through patterns that took more than a year to develop, through the Tarzan swing, through the maze called the tidal wave. Clickety-click, down they went.
It's fascinating watching them fall, I think. That's one of the things that, makes us do this, I guess. It's fascinating. Sometimes it gets so boring setting them up, we just want to leave, and other times where we just love setting up our patterns, and we just really don't know why we do it.
Somewhere between two huge patterns and about 3/4 into the course was domino number 97,000. It fell, and the 18-year-old boys had their record. But they were after more than that. The Dominoes approached the most difficult obstacle, the box. Clickety-click, they went in. The moment was breathless, anxious, and to everyone's horror, the Dominoes did not come falling out. John Wickham was crushed, but never mind, a new Domino toppling record had been set.
I wanted the record. I got the record, along with John. Could have been better, and I couldn't be happier if everything went smoothly. But the record's all I wanted, so everything came true.
And so the Dominoes were nudged again, clicking away toward the end of the course, around turns, through circles and squares, to bump against the little car that rolled down the track, which bumped into the last row, which fell clickety-click, until 135,215 dominoes had all fallen down. Chris Kelly, CBS News, Wilmette, Illinois.
That's the way it is. Tuesday, April 17th, 1979. This is Walter Cronkite, CBS News. Good night.
To get a smile and a chuckle out of the famously stoic Walter Cronkite as he gave his iconic sign-off simply was the cherry on top of that world record for Erez and me. As for that one hope, it did become a reality the next day when we got a phone call that set us on the path to doing another world's record attempt in 1980 as a fundraiser for the National Hemophilia Foundation. Oh, and that wish we were holding on to? Well, 2 days later, when we turned to the back page of the sports section of the Chicago Tribune, we saw it had been granted, adding some sprinkles to that Walter Cronkite cherry on top. We'll catch you again on the next This Day in Domino History. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and check out DominoWorldRecord.com for the latest news on our plans to attempt another world record in the coming years. If you're an experienced builder and want to work with some of the best domino artists on the planet, we'd love for you to join the Domino Dream Team. Our team needs 100 more topplers to show sponsors our community is ready to go after a world record of at least 5 million dominoes. So sign up today.